We are terrified of the world we see unfolding before our eyes. We are terrified of being out of control, unable to understand decisions being made by people we have never met that will impact our futures. We decided we need to stand up and say enough is enough. We need to take back control of our future. Brother Adam, creator of the Buckfast Bees, said, "Listen to the bees and let them guide you." So we did. We decided to make a task force at our school dedicated to the environment to help take action and do our bit to solve a problem bigger than our school, bigger than Wrexham, and one the size of the planet. We needed to think like the bees.
Bees are the byword for work. We've all heard of busy bees, but interestingly, a single bee only produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey each in their lifetime. At first, this may not seem like much, but if we amplify this across the thousands of them in a swarm, and then amplify this again across the 2 trillion bees in the world, then it becomes memorable, right? Similarly, if we all put in the effort together as one big swarm, we could potentially make a huge difference. When we started our Eco Task Force in 2019, since we've started it in 2019, we have made our school far more eco-friendly. We've removed the plastic cutlery and replaced it with biodegradable materials instead. We've planted vegetables in our allotment, which people are allowed to take home if they need any. And we've also planted 250 trees on a disused sports field. We also have a no-mow rule on that field to increase biodiversity and let wildflowers grow. The purpose of the Tovey Field is to reconnect our generation with nature and educate the 800 pupils on the seasons and our place in the ecosystem. We also wanted to revert that disused field from a disused field, and quite similar to a desert, back into a thriving home for all pollinators. And we've been so successful with our work. Our community council now wants to expand our model across the county.
Now, you might think we're making too much fuss. I mean, why should we care if all the bees die? Pavan Sukta, an environmental economist, once said that a bee has never sent you an invoice. And that's part of the problem. Most of what comes from nature is free. Because it is not traded or priced in markets, we tend to forget about it. Bees are economically invisible, so let's put a value on nature. Almost 90% of wild plants and 75% of crops rely on bees and other animals and insects for pollination. This means that every 3 mouthfuls of our food relies on pollinators. Now, let's take a look at what that really means. Statistics are important, but we're from a media generation. Now, let us show you Seattle's life with and without bees.
Unfortunately, an estimated 97% of wildflower meadows have disappeared from England and Wales since the 1930s. In rural areas, pesticides called neonicotinoids stop pests from eating crops, but also kill bees. These are banned in the EU, but because of Brexit, are now legal in certain circumstances in the UK and may further the decline of bees. In urban areas, beekeeping has become so popular that there's been an increase in beehives but a decrease in green space, causing many bees to starve with not enough flowers to collect food from. The decline in these bees will hugely impact our economy. A lot of our food would need to be pollinated by hand, and this would make food more expensive. With this increase in prices, wages would also need to increase in order to keep our economy functioning. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor over 2,000 years ago, said, "That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." The decline in these pollinators is not good for our beehive, our planet, and will be disastrous for us. Many countries are already facing food shortages with bees, with about 690 million people, roughly 10 times the population of the UK, who are undernourished. So just imagine the world without them.
In the words of Jane Goodall, an environmental campaigner and expert on chimpanzees, if people lose hope, we may as well give up. So we won't lose hope. We will carry on our work and ask for your help. We want your help to protect the bees. We want you to plant wildflowers in your gardens or plant pots. Help out with your local planting community. Ask your golf clubs or football clubs to leave space for nature. A single lawn can produce enough nectar to feed up to 1,088 bees, according to BBC Springwatch, per day. Imagine that multiplied across everyone in this room. Be the change we need. We will end on this note from St. John Chrysostom, an early church figure. The bee is more honored than any other creature, not because she labors, but because she labors for others. Be the bee.